Hey yogis and yogis, welcome to Yogana. My name is Anna. Today we're going to be doing our first episode of the series Flow for Your Flow. So today we'll be focusing on the menstrual phase. This is our winter season. So imagining in the winter you stay indoors, get lots of blankets, have a cup of tea by the fireplace. We're going to do the same thing on our mats. So we're just going to tune inward, get nice and comfortable, have really restorative postures. And then just notice throughout the practice if any posture feels really great and restorative and like a nice big hug, just stay there as long as you need to. There's no need to jump out of it and go to the next thing if it feels great. So it'll be a pretty short practice today, but just make sure you're in your comfiest clothes that you have and we'll get started. So we'll go ahead and start on our stomachs today. So already tuning inward, we're just going to come all the way down onto the belly, stack the hands, let the elbows fall out nice and wide, and the forehead is going to rest on the knuckles. So we'll start to release that low back tension, just any buildup of that menstrual cycle in the low back and even the stomach. So we'll go ahead and start to bend slightly in the knees, and then just let the feet fall side to side a couple times, just releasing in the glutes, in the low back. And then eventually lowering back down the feet, coming to stillness, softening the shoulders, and just taking about 5 rounds of deep intentional breaths, just feeling the stomach fill up and press against the ground as you inhale. And exhale, letting the belly deflate. As you inhale, just feeling a nice deep inflation in the low back and the stomach, and really letting that breath just circulate throughout those reproductive parts. Just giving those areas a nice deep massage with your breath. And final breath here. Good, and again, freedom to stay right here as long as you need to. Maybe even pause the video, just stay here until you feel satisfied. Or make your way into our next posture of child's pose, pressing yourself up, bringing those big toes together. Knees out wide or together. Knees out wide might feel a little bit more of a relief in your menstrual cycle, but totally up to you. If it's too much in the hips, bring the knees together. And then sink the hips over the heels, extend the arms out nice and long, and settle in. Just feeling that breath circulate all the way down to the base of the rib cage. Again, just nice deep belly breaths. Good. On the next inhale, we'll start to make our way up into all fours. So coming into tabletop, we'll separate the big toes, shake out the hips, find some cat-cows. I'm going to drop the belly, gaze goes up as the shoulders roll down the spine, the hips lift, toes can be tucked or not, up to you. Exhale as we arch through the spine, shoulders roll into the ears, Chin comes to the chest. Inhale as we open. Exhale as we close. Just about 3 more rounds here, your own pace. Moving your torso like a big lung, inhaling as you open, exhaling as you close, feeling each vertebrae on the spine open up. Nice massage. Good. Last time, we'll start to neutralize the spine. Come into a down dog. We're going to move right into a pigeon pose. So if your hips feel really tight, you're welcome to come into a reclined figure 4 posture. So if you just want to watch for a moment while I walk you through both options, you're welcome to. Or if you know which variation you'd like to take, you're welcome to make your way there. So if you're finding that traditional pigeon pose, we'll just kick that right heel high. Exhale as you bend in the knee. Start to bring it all the way up to meet that right wrist, and then lower down the shin, dropping that left knee. Untuck the toes. Maybe scoot that left knee back if you need something a little deeper. Just making sure you're not forcing it. Maybe walk those right toes up to meet the left wrist. Again, only if you need something more. And then staying here or making your way down to the forearms, relaxing the shoulders. So that's option A, the traditional pigeon pose, or finding your way into a reclined figure 4 posture. So that's just on your back, crossing that right ankle over the left knee, and then bringing the knees into the chest. So interlacing the hands behind that left thigh, or if you need something a little more, grabbing the outside of that left knee. So this is also just a really great option if you need something extra restorative right now for this part of your cycle. This should feel really good. You'll still get that same exact benefit, just that deep hip opener here in that right hip and the glute and the low back. So just whatever feels good to you at this moment. Just tuning inward. My favorite part of the cycle. It can be your favorite part if you start to just tune inward, notice what feels good, and really just lean into that phase if you have the freedom to. Or just any moment you have, just really leaning into it, getting cozy, giving yourself space to slow down and find restoration. Good. If you're in that traditional posture, and you want something a little bit more in the torso, just to open up with the blood flow a little bit more, we'll walk the hands out nice and long, and then walk them over to the top left corner of the mat, or maybe off of the mat, and then just sink back in. If you're on your backs in that figure 4 posture, maybe just pressing that right knee open a little bit more, pressing it up towards the sky away from you, pulling both knees into the chest a little bit more, and breathing. Good. We'll walk the hands back through center if you're in traditional pigeon pose. Walk the hands in as we inhale, and then switch sides. So if you're on your back, just lowering down that right knee and then switching. So that left ankle is going to cross over the right knee. If you're in traditional pigeon pose, tucking those left toes, lifting the knee, kicking that right heel back just for a moment, unwinding. And then inhaling, kicking that left heel high. Exhale, bringing that left knee in to meet the left wrist, lowering down on that right knee, untucking the toes. Pressing that right knee further back, maybe those left toes further forward, only if it feels right. And then finding your edge, settling in on the elbows, the forearms, or staying up on the palms. Softening that left hip if you have a prop, if you have a blanket, a pillow, or maybe a block, placing it underneath that left hip, or maybe in front of you, just grabbing it like a pillow. Just giving it a nice big hug. You totally don't have to have those things, but if you do, it might just make it a little bit more cozy, a little bit more comfortable, more effortless. And then if you're in that traditional pigeon pose, we'll find that same variation in the side body on the side. So we'll walk the hands forward, walk them over to the top right corner and settle back in. Maybe stack that left hand over the right, or just keep the hands side by side. Good, we'll start to make our way back up. So walk the hands back through center, bring them in towards the body. We're gonna make our way onto our backs in a moment anyway, so if you're in that figure 4 posture, just lowering down the knees or both feet and then hugging the knees into the chest. If you're in traditional pigeon pose, we'll kick that left heel high for a moment. Find 4-legged down dog. And then drop the knees. Walk the hands in, heels meet the hips, and then we'll spin the legs in front of us. If you're on your backs, go ahead and just lift the torso up. Find a staff posture. So legs are fully extended in front of you. Glutes are out of the way. We'll find that tall spine, soften through the knees, no need to overextend. And then we'll just find a staff forward fold posture. So we'll start to walk the hands down the legs, keep the shoulders down the spine. Let the hands land wherever they land. And then we'll just release the head. Make sure there's no tension in the neck. Good, and then we'll start to inhale as we bring ourselves back up. Start to walk the hands in, roll out the shoulders, and then bend in the knees, scoot the hips forward as we make our way down. We're not even going to activate the core, just no need to make your way down slowly. Just come on down to the backs. We'll find a little morning stretch. So reaching the arms all the way overhead, pointing the toes all the way down behind or below you. Nice tall spine. And then we'll finish off with some reclined twist. So go ahead and plant the feet, bend in the knees. Heels are in nice and close to the glutes. We'll lift the hips, take them up and over to the right side, and let the knees fall to the left. Good, we'll take that right arm out beside us. Left hand maybe grabs onto the right knee, pulling the knees in close to the chest, pressing the knees towards the ground, feeling a deep opening in the right side of the body, right side of the chest, and a detox in the torso. Nice release in the back. We hold a lot of tension here, can feel a little bit of discomfort in the low back on the menstrual phase. So see if you can feel a lot of release here. Just in the twist, breathing into that space. Good, we'll take a deep inhale. Start to bring the knees back through center. Nice and slowly unwind, bringing the hips back through center. And switch sides, we'll take the hips up and over to the left side as the knees fall over to the right. Grabbing onto that top left knee with your right hand. Left arm reaches out beside you. Maybe gaze goes to the left or just up towards the sky. Feeling heavy in that left shoulder, that left hip. Good. We'll start to deepen the breath and then begin to bring the knees back through center. Reset the hips, hug the knees in. Good. And we don't want to do a lot of inversions for the menstrual phase. So if you want to finish off with any final poses, maybe more like reclined cobbler's pose, I wouldn't highly recommend bridge pose or legs up the wall, even though that might seem like it feels good. But something a little bit more grounding, like that reclined cobbler's pose. Or eventually making your way into Shavasana, just fully extending the legs, arms out beside you. If you have a bunch of pillows and blankets around you, placing that pillow or just a rolled up blanket underneath the knees can really support that low back. So that's an awesome option. Or maybe just underneath the head, or if you're chilly, placing a blanket over top of you. Letting the toes fall out to the corners of the mat, the shoulders roll under the spine, palms face the ceiling. Opening and closing the jaw, releasing muscles in the face. Raising and lowering the eyebrows, softening the space in between. And then we're just going to finish off with 2 final deep cleansing breaths, just getting rid of all the stale air in the body and fully absorbing today's practice. So we'll take a deep inhale through the nose, fill up in the belly. Exhale out the open mouth. So nice vocal exhale, really getting rid of all the air. One more just like that. Inhale deep through the nose, fill up in the belly. And exhale really loud. Good. And sealing the lips, finding that natural breathing method, that breathing flow. And then maybe just falling asleep here, taking as much time as you need to in Shavasana. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. Take care of yourself this week. Tune inward. Namaste. If you enjoyed this video and feel great, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next flow.